as things stand, I think if you put a gun to my head, I'd say Hearts are getting relegated right now. I didn't see much yesterday to dissuade me from that.
I think we all agree. Aye. You can't argue the position they find themselves in. The fact performances have flipped back to where they were at the start of the season after they got an early bounce off of Neil Critchley coming in. Hearts were woeful, apart from maybe 20-minute spell in the second half after being gifted an equaliser by a bit of madness for Rocky Bashiri. The Hibs were, by a fair distance, deserved winners yesterday at Tynecastle, and it's the first time they've left Gorgie and taken bragging rights back across the city in 5 years since Boxing Day 2019. So it's a monumental result for David Gray, for Hibs, and honestly, the scenes and the way it ended at the end were brilliant. I mean, it's Scotland's best derby now by a country mile, because basically you have two sets of fans in the ground, and it was electric for the start. It's 3/4 toxic at the end again, but the other quarter, boy, did they party at the end. It was some scenes. But the game lived up to expectations as well, you know. It got off to a flying start, a couple of VAR interventions, and then Hibs took it to Hearts and were very deserved winners on the day.
We've obviously had plenty of comments in on this one as well. This one from Alex saying, folk blaming Critchley, you can have the best tactical setup in the world. When you've gutless cowards to choose from, you'll get nowhere fast. Andy, watching Hearts, it's a mystery to me, because Critchley, to me, it doesn't look like... He kind of looks a bit shell-shocked. He looks like he's come in and he's went, what's going on here? Hang on a minute. But he's not getting much help on the pitch from his players, is he?
Well, I mean, they had picked up a wee bit of late. I mean, I think domestically they've been, since he's come in, largely okay and showing signs of taking steps forward. But that was a huge step backwards yesterday. I mean, they just looked so short in quality all over the pitch. I wasn't really sure what he was trying to do tactically. It looked like the team was outnumbered and mismatched entirely in the midfield. Hibs press just sort of seemed to spook them a lot of the time. They were just ended up going long an awful lot to launch Shankland, who is just so out of form. You can see confidence is an issue for him, and James Wilson up front alongside of him just... he's a promising player, but I'm not sure he's ready yet to start a game of that magnitude. So they just looked so lost. I mean, and then the changes he made in the second half didn't seem to alter the flow of the game at all. So I mean, listen, we've hammered Hibs recruitment down the years of late. It's been nowhere near good enough, and that's why they are where they are on the table. As much as things have picked up, they're up to, I think it's 8th in the table now. I still think a team the size of Hibs, with the budget they have and the fan base they have, the stadium they have, should be a lot higher. They should be in the fight for Europe, if not third place. But Hearts recruitment has been brutal. I mean, they were, as much as last season, they were very good and deservedly finished well clear on third. It was evident they were overly reliant on Lawrence Shankland's goals. As soon as he's had a dry spell, any attacking intent from this team has just disappeared. So, listen, they've got a lot of work to do in January, but I agree with Fraser that, I mean, yourself, Daniel, I mean, how can you say they're not in a relegation fight? You're not sitting second bottom on Boxing Day, but it'd be an unlucky turn of events. You're there on merit. The table doesn't lie in that sense. And obviously they've had Europe to contend with, and we know last season that they sort of kicked on after that. But this just feels different. This just feels that they are short in so many areas, defensively, up front, even, and as I say, in the midfield yesterday. So for me, that's a sore one, because there had been that sort of sense of something that Critchley was just getting to grips with things since coming in. But as I say, that's a huge backward step, and it's one that you don't easily recover from when you have your opposition, your main rivals coming. You say, as Fraser saying, partying. You've seen the picture there with the corner flag getting waved about. That's going to be a sore one for a few days. But Hibs have got every right to lap that one up. I know some people might be saying it's a bit early. It's that's what, 4 wins in 5, is it?
Yep.
Yeah. Defeating that time was against Celtic, obviously. So, but they've had a pretty grim year to date, and listen, I think credit to David Gray, because at one stage it looked like he was hanging to his job by his fingernails, but he'll have underlined his position there with listen, he got his tactics spot on last night. Yesterday he worked Hearts out, and he picked the right team, and I thought the way that they set up was absolutely spot on. And Nicky Cadden was doing that left hand side. What a signing he's been. I mean, as I say, we've slaughtered our recruitment for the last wee while, but having his brother doing the wings have been absolutely tremendous for Hibs this season.
Mm-hmm. This is the thing, Fraser. It's the same by and large Hearts team that finished third last season by a country mile. How do you account for this awful season they're having?
Well, that is pretty simple. That is Lawrence Shankland's no scoring goals. So the one thing I would say about the recruitment, right? Their two best players this season. Hearts fans will agree with this. Well, the majority of them. By country mile, James Penrice, signed in the summer, has been their best player on the left flank. A bit like Nicky Cadden across the city. He's great going forward and has a mean delivery into the box. It was and Blair Spittle has also been pretty much solid signing for the summer. And key yesterday was a strange decision for Neil Critchley to remove him midway through the second half when he still looked like he had energy in the legs. He doesn't like to give Blair Spittle 90 minutes for some reason. He's not started them in key games in Europe, and they've been made to pay. And when he came off yesterday, that was the 20 minutes I was talking about. Hearts had a grip on the game at the start of the second half, and when he came off, they just seemed to completely lose grip of it again, and Hibs took over. So, but to answer your point, it's simply down to Lawrence Shankland's goals.